Thank you so much for joining the Falling for Learning podcast. Today, we are getting into it, right? This is our structured literacy part two. So, as I stated before, this structured literacy is connected to the science of reading. And when you use this approach, 95% of students are going to be able to read. Hi, thank you so much for joining the Falling for Learning podcast. We have this podcast to help parents and caregivers with having the resources, strategies, and tools needed to make sure that their children are on track for learning and to stay on track for success. I do want to be very clear that there are kids who can learn how to read without this, right? Some of you out there don't know how your kids learn how to read. You may know already how to read and don't remember how you learned, and that is fine. But we're talking about there are some students, and we have a preponderance of kids, a lot of kids lately, that do not have the literacy skills, right? For their grade level. They're far below grade level in performance and reading. And this video was created to help support those of you who are at home, those of you who are teachers at whatever level, and who are having a lot of struggles teaching kids how to read. So we already did the part one. So this is the part two. And if you're thinking about teaching this as a lesson, it is about 30 minutes together. Part one is about 30 minutes if you're teaching a lesson. And then this part two is about 30 minutes. So this is how it is done. I'm using a different camera today. Let's see how it goes. But anyway, here we go. All right. So, um, this part two starts with actually doing some word work. So, our first lesson, part of the lesson, we worked on the short O sounds. And now we're going to be working on the same sound, but now we're going to be working on word work with those same sounds. Because this is beginning reading, we're going to be using 3-letter and 4-letter words. So that is the CVC, or consonant, vowel, consonant, and or the consonant, vowel, consonant, consonant, or consonant, consonant, vowel, consonant. And we'll show you exactly what we're talking about. So go ahead and begin with the word like, lot. Okay, so here's the word lot. And then we are going to have kids reading those words and having a list of those words that they're reading. Okay, so there's lot, and again, that is we're going to add an S to the beginning of this word. So now we have slot. And again, your children may need to sound out each one of these words several times. And again, be patient. If that's what they need, let's give it to them. Okay? All right. So next, we are going to remove the S and put it at the end, from the front to the end. So now we have lots. And again, if you need to use that strategy of stretching out the vowel, please do so. Lot, lots, and then add the s sound at the end. So very important that you get this right. All right, so, and then we're going to switch around the T and the S, and we have ah, lost. Okay? So our word work is building words from what we already have, right? We're just switching around some letters, taking some letters away, and helping them to blend the words. Again, helping them to understand some commonalities in the sounds and the spellings. And we're also reviewing those sound spellings over and over again, right? Lot, lots, lots, lot, slot, us, lost. Good. So there you go. I lost my marker and I don't even see the top. So we'll deal with that later. Okay. So there we go. Word work. So word work reviews the words previously. So word work just has to do with list. So this is just a list. And then there's another type of word work where you're dealing with another aspect of it, which is word sorting. So we'll go ahead and do a word sort. So next, we're going to think about words with so we're going to first think about words with just 3 letters. And this one has 4 letters. So this is word work as well, but now we're sorting the words. And this is another way of reading the words and reviewing it. So now we have, which one of these words just has 3? Lot. Okay, so we're going to write lot. Okay. Now we have other words that have 4 letters. So how does this go? Which one? Slot. Okay. Now we have words with 4 letters. Lots. We have another one. Lost. So now sorting these words again helps the kids to deal with this. Now, of course, because I'm showing you like this is me doing the work. You could have kids come up and write the words individually underneath the category. You also could use cards. So here we have cards. I have the word slop, and you could go ahead and tape on the word slop in that area. So that's a way that you could do it as well. So giving the kids the words and taping the words up is another strategy for helping them to get into a way of working with the words so they're not just sitting and watching you do this, okay? So you could have the word slop, and then you again will get another word from them. So I'm going to write down. Again, having a post-it note or something is a little more convenient, but depends on how you want to do it. You also could have individual letters that they're forming or even writing on a whiteboard or a piece of paper while you're doing this up here. But again, you want them really doing work, not just watching you do work. So here's a lop. Lop is like to cut off, right? You could just tell them quickly. And then we have this other word, salot. So we'll put it here again. You could post it right up here. And then you have lots of words. And then you want to practice reading those words. Lot, lop, slot, lots, lost, slop, slot. So again, don't be surprised if they do need your help sounding out these words, even though you read them together. You may need help sounding them out. So very important, make sure that you take that time and be patient if they need to sound out each one of these words again. But as they do this more, they'll get better and better at it, even as you're adding new skills and new letters and new sound letters to what they're doing. You will see an improvement. And again, we're focused in on the short O sound. So again, you are showing them that you're working on that short O sound. And they're working on it over and over again in multiple ways so that they will be getting it. And again, be very careful that you're not up here just doing all the work, that you are removing your voice, that you're giving them an opportunity to come up. They're either writing it themselves, they're either taking cards where the words are written and posting it up here for you, or, so different ways to make sure that they're involved in the process. I'm going step by step showing it to you, but these are ways that you need to consider about getting kids involved because they will get bored just up watching you, okay? So now that we have our word sort, right? This is our word work as well. This is the word sort, right? This is the word work, and this has to do with list, reading the list of words, okay? And blending those words if they need to. But, getting into the list of the words, reading words together. Our next step is really thinking about irregular words. So, irregular words come in the form of either sight words or into high frequency words. So I'm going to write sight words, and then I'm going to write high frequency words. Okay, so sight words and high frequency words are words that occur in reading in text a lot of the time, right? Very high percentage of words are sight words or high frequency words. Sight words are words basically you need to memorize because they do not fall into the rules. So the sight words often break the rules. Words like are and the are high frequency words. Are sight words. They don't follow the rules. Words that do follow the rules, but you see a lot and they just should be really familiar with it are words like is, also were, words like most. Most does not follow the rules. It has a long O here, right? So that's not a sight word. It does follow the rules. It may be not words that they've learned yet, right? Because these are all short O sounds. But most is a sight word or a high frequency words, and they can be used interchangeably. But I just want to point out that some irregular words don't follow the rules, and they come in the form of the sight words and the high frequency words. You see them often. All over the United States, 75% of children don't know how to write well. Add that to the fact that so many people out there are trying to silence the voices of those who have been oppressed and trying to prevent them from telling their story. Who's going to tell your story? If your child doesn't know how to write well, I have 2 books to address this issue: The Rewrite Method and The Rewrite Method Workbook, written to make sure that parents know what to do, that educators know what to do to get their children to write better, and just not write better, but love to write. Make sure that your next generation could tell their story and they won't be silenced. Go to fallingforlearning.com today to purchase your set. Now, as they get older, there are going to be more irregular words that, and we will talk about the different forms. But I'm talking right now about the sight words and the high frequency words that don't really fit into what they usually are reading, um, as they're at this level where they're just doing short vowel sounds. Okay? And again, depending on their age, you're going to be building on what they already know. They might just start with the word the, and then later on, you're introducing the word are, were. And the way you introduce it is you're saying this word says are, and it's spelled A-R-E. Now we want to say that A-R makes the R sound, right? R. And then the E is silent. So you just show them that the way the words are going to be done. I'm going to do a separate video just showing these words and how we're doing it. But there are different types of irregular words that don't fit into sight words or high frequency words, but I will be showing it to you, right? There's different stages of it. There's also, again, were. Oh, I skipped over the, v, v, the. So this would usually say the E sound or the S sound. It doesn't say either one, right? So they need to make an adjustment for that. But TH says the. the. Then er says and the e is silent. So showing them a little bit about the rules that they'll be learning later on, but also getting into the details about how to attack these words, giving them strategies for sounding out these sight words and high frequency words. You don't want to give them a bunch. You want to introduce a couple every time, and eventually they'll have 30, 40, 50, 60 or more. Again, high frequency words and sight words. Irregular words, again, are just a little piece of this. They don't fit in all of it, and we will be teaching that in other videos. Okay, so our very last part of the structured literacy approach is connected text. Now, of course, we've been reading list of words, we've been reading individual words, but the part is we need to get them to reading texts. And I'm going to give you many resources for creating text that are based on the words. Now I'm going to do this and I'm going to kind of make it up on the fly, and you'll see that they're connected, and we're going to use some of the high frequency words at the same time. So the point again of reading these individual words is for them to be able to read phrases and text stories, eventually being able to get to the point where they could read whatever comes in front of them. Whatever text is in front of them and presented to them, they will be able to read it. So that's the goal, right? And so we need to have them practice reading connected text. I don't know if you hear movement around, but I live in a family and there's lots of people around moving and grooving. And so hopefully you have your family moving and grooving around you as well. So connected text. Okay. One of the sight words also that I'm going to add here is the word I, or high frequency word. I'm going to put I. Because I, of course, is a word that they're going to see a lot, and it's going to be one of my first words in the connected text. I'm also going to add the word have. Okay. I have lots. And another one, sight word, of. Okay. Of. So both sounds don't make the original sound that they usually make. It doesn't say off. It says of. So very different than what you would have learned. So you need to know this word is very irregular. It doesn't follow rules. I have lots of slop. So it's going to be silly. I have lots of slop. So slop, of course, could be like food, or it could be junk, or it has lots of meanings. As we know, it could be like really some nasty stuff, right? But we're just gonna say slop, like messed up food or something like that, right? I have lots of slop. I lost my, oh, here's another word, dog. Mm-hmm. Again, we could have it will, there's another sight word, not stop. Again, doesn't really kind of make sense, but again, I'm using lots of short O words and some high frequency words. I have lots of slop. I lost my dog. It will not stop. Now, what is it that won't stop? The dog won't stop. I'm saying it instead of he or she, because I don't want to do another sight word. Now, these are connected text, right? This is 1, 2, 3 sentences. They're really silly. But that's the point, right? That it's connected text. You're controlling what words you put in there. Of course, I could say, I have lots of food. I lost my German Shepherd. He is not stopping when I tell him to come or something. You could have put lots of extra words in here, but with connected text, you're really controlling the words that you put in so that you can see the progression from reading individual words, you know, noticing similarities and differences as you're reading these words, doing a word sort, then looking at those sight words and high frequency words and how they connect meaning to text, right? And then you get into sentences. So, again, these are the stages of the structured literacy lesson. And there's lots of programs out there that already put it all together for you. I really felt like it's important. And if you're finding the value, please press that like and subscribe button so that you can stay in the know and get the breakdowns, okay? But, making sure that you know these different stages of the structured literacy approach is so important so that you are helping your kid with their reading. And it doesn't matter their age, they're going to benefit from having this type of reading controlled structure as they're learning how to read. And again, you are taking them through reading these words. You could have it printed out, and there's lots of resources that you will see in the comment section in the show notes so that you could have all the information you need to take your child step by step through the process of understanding how to read and how you really take them through a thorough and engaging process of helping them to learn, for example, in this case, the short O sound. Okay, so again, this is part of the structured literacy structure. This is number 5. This is 5A. This is 5B, right? Because you have the word sort and then you have the list of words, okay? That you are building on the words based on. And they also would call this chaining. Different people call the same thing different things. So they call this chaining sometimes when you're adding on sounds. I've also switched around some sounds, so I'm just calling it word work, but it takes different forms. Then there are the irregular words, which have a huge umbrella, right? But under this umbrella specifically, we're talking about sight words and high frequency words that they're learning out of order, right? Because they're all of when you're getting the letters, when you're getting into connected text, you cannot control for all of the short O sounds. So you put in some high frequency words so that you could have a sentence that might be silly but ultimately makes sense. To get to reading words, you do need to have these high frequency words so they can understand the words. Okay, they can understand what they're reading, that you can make some sentences that make sense. Okay, and I added a couple more. And again, you want to control how many you teach. It should be about 3 to 5 a week as you're going through this with them. And again, the resources are in the show notes as to different programs that are recommended that have a structured literacy approach and that teach kids what they need. Okay, so with that, we're going to go ahead and end the show. And please do something today that your future adult children will thank you for. Thank you so much again for joining the Falling for Learning podcast. Thanks again for supporting the Falling for Learning podcast. New episodes go live every Saturday at 5 p.m. You can watch us on youtube.com at Falling for Learning, or listen on all major podcast platforms such as Apple, Google, Audible, Spotify, and much more. For more resources, visit fallinginlovewithlearning.com. We really appreciate you. Have a wonderful week.